Well, it's 4:15 on the 9th of February. This will be week number 6 of the winter 2021 Shipyard Night School Introductory AutoCAD. Tonight we're going to learn using broken lines, or in other words, AutoCAD line types. We'll learn to load them because start from scratch drawing has none to keep the start from scratch template minimal size. So we need to load them into a drawing, and then we need, once they're loaded, we need to assign them to layers. Now, broken line types, like this is one of the center flavors of line types. I'll explain that in class, and there's hidden lines here. How to put this? Broken line types are kind of like tape measures. Nobody does, but with a really, really long center line, you can count the small breaks and estimate the length of the line. So if you got like an aircraft carrier on a sheet of paper, well, you're going to have a gazillion of these small breaks and they won't print out at times. So we'll learn the LTScale system variable, which will amplify the line lengths and the gap lengths of all lines in the drawing to accommodate the scale of your plot. I used to say set a line type scale for unique drawings, but lately I've been thinking of leave LTScale 1, the default value, and instead tweak your broken lines line by line by line with the line type scale multiplier within the properties of objects. And I still don't know what way is popular in industry. If y'all have CAD in your shop or office, maybe ask around and tell me how you do it. There's another way that people think is easier, but you got to make adjustments before you use it, and I'm not satisfied with it. I'm thinking making adjustments, for every circle, and every time you use it, you got to make an adjustment. Why not just tweak the line type scale multiplier for simple broken lines? What else? So far, we have no students come in. I thought we'd do both of these handouts in class. We'll draw this face of I don't know what you call, double flanged spacer, I guess. We could draw everything on 0 layer and move it to the proper layer later, or keep changing the current layer. It looks like when I did this, I think everything in here has LTScale, the global steroid for the drawing. I believe somewhere it'll say here we go. We got this zoom stuff in the way, always something. Here it says leave LTScale set to 1. So this center line, for example, we go into the properties for it and set the modifier for LTScale to 2. Same thing here. We set the modifier to LTScale as 2. Yeah, all center lines are on the center line X2 layer. That's the name of the center line that's got the longest lines and longest gaps in it. We got three different flavors of center lines: for short lines, regular lines, and long lines. And I don't know if which is what's popular. Some people might say just use simple center line type for everything and adjust the multiplier, where other people say use the small center line flavor for the small circles and the big center line layer, namely center line X2. That's a line type, but I think it's convenient to name your layer equal to the line type. But the center X2 would be used for the largest circles. And as I'll explain, if the smallest, where's my drawing here? Yeah, I'll show this in class, but if your biggest circle is 6.9 times the size of your smallest, you can get away with the three line types for small, medium, and large, and set the global LTScale for the entire drawing, and everything will be satisfied. But let's see, one's coming in. I didn't catch who. I'm finding more and more in academic work, Jonathan's joined us. Welcome aboard. I found in my academic work, I got all sizes of drawings in the same file. So it's impossible to, how to put this, there's no good global LTScale for all these different size drawings. So regardless of what I set the LTScale, I got to use the LTScale multiplier as well. Here's the, if I can open up the current version. Here's a file I'm making of drawings if I ever get around to making my own textbook, because I'm getting tired of all the typos in anybody else's textbook. Well, check it out. These here in the top are all just about the same size, but eventually, I want to get some big exercises, and here's a big 3D solid that I screen captured one off the internet that I'll modify. I won't use it as is. I'll tweak it a bit to so I don't get in trouble for stealing it. But anyway, my point is I want to have exercises on all different sizes of drawings, not just the little football sized drawings I got here for the first, 20 or 30 exercises. So I've got everything set to LTScale equal to 1. And then if we click on a center line, right click, go to properties, you'll see the LTScale for that is 0.5. The layer is center, so I believe the line type is center. Again, I keep the layer and line type the same. I don't know how common that is in industry. Move zoom out of the way, close properties. Where's a really big problem? Big X, here we go. Here's a huge drawing. Well, I should know, a large drawing relative to the others. We'll let's see, shift right click properties. Okay, this has an LTScale of 1 with the line type center X2 on the layer name center X2. So I'm using all three standard line types and tweaking them in properties, but got LTScale, the global universal, set to the default value of simply 1. So Unfortunately, this kind of breaks my my rule of everything by layer and everything standard and everything under control when you tweak individual things differently. It'd be a little bit harder for somebody to follow your work. Now they're coming aboard. Tabitha's coming aboard. I've got a message, one or two can't make it for one reason or another. Hey, Jonathan, Tabitha. So I don't know, I'm tempted to assign some of these preliminary textbook problems in upcoming classes and let students be guinea pigs to see if the dimensions are working and everything is well dimensioned. And I don't know, in the advanced class, where was that screen capture I had a second ago? Michael is coming in. Yeah, here we go. This I pirated, I wired off a website. And again, I want to adjust all the dimensions. So I'm kind of using these for ideas rather than, publish them as my own. Anyway, I'm thinking the intermediate class, I might deal these out at random and maybe, have students model this in 3D and hope I can give them credit in the book, but with my memory, I'm going to forget who did which. Let's see, what is this one? Oh, that's the two-dimensional drawing for this, whatever this thing is. I like to have the exercises be something realistic. Some of the textbook has just such wild cloverleaf looking funky things that I can't imagine ever being used anywhere except an art museum. So, these bell cranks, I like to think of you'd see in some machine somewhere. Gears, this is I believe that was a harmonic balancer puller. That was, and again, I made it similar, but I think it might have been in metric dimensions, and I just kind of eyeballed it. Yeah, thinking about 5-inch diameter, might be a little small. But what else? I got into these wine glasses. Googled wine glasses to get some ideas for different shape. This one's got way too big a base. I might fix that. But this would be an ideal academic exercise in the intermediate class. And once you draw everything to the left of the center line, the 3D command revolve. Wait a minute, why are there no hidden lines? Do I have the hidden lines layer off? Yep, frozen. There we go. With the visible and who's coming in? Christina and Benjamin are coming in. Anyway, if you kind of crop off everything except the left side, it's easy to develop a profile of this shape. Approximately what I'm waving around here, and then you spin this profile about the center axis. That's called the revolve command. We'll play with in intermediate class. Same here. I got spheres and fillets here. So you know, once you get half of this, you weld up everything together, the hidden lines, center line, and spin it around the center line. Got the tie coming in. What else can I babble about? I think your textbook has one pulley problem in it. Maybe I'm mistaken, but anyway, got to thinking, well, gosh, new cars have these serpentine belts, so I Googled serpentine belts, and some of them were off of Caterpillar engines. And I tried to standardize the pulley sizes. You know, so once you make one pulley, you can replicate it over. And I tried to keep dimensions nice and round. You know, I got the dimensions rigged so that I think the most precise I've got is 0.625, the decimal equivalent of, well, there's 375 for 3/8. 625 is 5/8. But some of the textbook drawings we've got, if you you know, because he's got the dimensions rigged to round off a set distance. Oop, gotta erase that guy, don't I? A set distance might come out to be 1.1254947 all the way out, but he's got it rigged to crop or round off. So it's very difficult to satisfy every dimension when some of the dimensions are cropped or rounded off. Noah's coming in. Well, I got about 430, and we got 6 students. Always get a latecomer. Chilantha's coming in. Anyway, after doing page 6-1, thought I had it in full view. We'll make this little machine part here. This would be a simple 3D model to make. Yada, yada, yada. And then I believe we'll have enough time to do this bottom one. So hopefully we'll do all 3 problems, the one on 6-1 and the 2 on 6-2, and then I'll take requests and do a couple of them from this list. By the way, number 45 has a glitch. I forget what it is. I'm not sure. It might be faster to open up the book and see. 45. Okay, that's missing a dimension. And the dimensions are kind of making it so that the number 45 is symmetric. The right is the same as the left. Oh, I see some hidden lines missing too. Don't remember if I got those on the errata. Anyway, if we do 45, I'll explain the hiccups in the textbook. What else is new? Oh, I'd also like, in addition to the couple machine, you know, exercises we do with broken line types, center and hidden. You know, we won't play with phantom and all the architectural. There's a gas line that you can modify to say sanitary sewer or storm drain, or anyway. I'd also like you to get started on a floor plan of your residence or of your dream house. I'm hoping it'll give you some motivation to tinker with it off and on, you know, between your classes, or, you know, between your levels of classes, and stay polished. This is my house right now, just a ranch. We're getting old and wanted to move away from the 2-story. I think I mentioned last week. And I don't know if this was a good idea, but I drew a rectangle the exact size from paint to paint of each room. So right now the rectangles are the good represent the rooms. But I need to go in and tweak the spacing between the rooms. So the green was kind of sketch work. I wasn't shooting for accuracy. It might be wise to, to bail out. I might freeze the green layer that's got all the chicken scratch on it. Looks like I got a couple green layers here. But I didn't think to measure the closets, so I need to go in and measure paint to paint in the closets. And unless I hear otherwise, a good interior wall thickness would be the 3.5 width of a 2x4. 2x4s are really 1.5 by 3.5 after the width of the saw blade and the depth sanded. And I'm guessing most houses these days have 1/2 inch drywall. So an interior wall, I would guess, would be a standard of 4.5 inches. I see a lot of 5/8 plywood in commercial work. I'm not sure what an exterior wall is. Should. Anyway, I'll space these room dimensions apart, the 4.5 for the wall thickness. And eventually it'll get accurate. The kitchen I did in another drawing. Where does that? Yeah, this is the kitchen as it is right now. It seems like there's less space between the dog bowl and the garbage can than this. But I'll have to remeasure the here 64 3/4 inches. Anyway, there was talk of how do we get more counter space and storage, and so I came up with this. Hey, let's move the refrigerator out of the corner, put it here, and put countertop and overhead cabinets there, and a whole set of counter and overhead cabinets there. Well, the wife kind of vetoed it. Would be nice to have the dishwasher immediately next to the sink. That's a blankety blank to run the water line, all the way around the corner, and the drain line. We just replaced one, and I had to lengthen water and drain, and my son, bless his heart, crawled under the house and broke some staples and pulled extra electrical out, because it was very, very hard to run the electrical with the short cord. Anyway, I copied this actual one right into this drawing, and that's why it acts like a single object. I can explode this single object and it'll blast it down into single dimensions, lines, and arcs. But hope I can avoid that. In fact, that's another lesson in intermediate. I could have the kitchen drawing over here, and if we get a new sink or stove or something, it's possible. I haven't got this one rigged this way, but it's possible that when the kitchen drawing is updated, I can open up my 214 Bruton Avenue drawing here, and the updates to the kitchen will be shown in the drawing. That's called X-refing, where one drawing is linked to another, and that's a handy tool. In a large drawing, one person can be assigned the foundation on a drawing and another electrical on a drawing, and everybody's X-refing everybody, so that when you're putting out the reflected ceiling plan, you can see the current state of the foundation and the walls. Even if just an hour ago they made a modification to the walls. Anyway, let's see. Here's the house. Whoop. Here's the house we moved from. I showed you this last week. This has got both floors overlaid. Here's a list of the layers, and all the first floor starts with 1 hyphen, and the second floor start with 2 hyphen. So taking advantage of the layers being in alphanumeric order, they're easy to you can freeze the first floor if you want to work on the second floor. I forgot to tell you last week, there is a way you can save a snapshot by layer state. Okay, looks like I do have 1 layer state here. Let's see if it'll work. Here we go, restore. And I believe it'll freeze all except the second floor layers. Close the layers, and there you go. There's no. Yeah, that's both floors after all. Not sure what went wrong. Let's see again. Second floor working. I'll have to fix that. Maybe I created some layers after I created the layer state. Anyway, we'll learn layouts in intermediate. This is like a plot preview, and in the plot preview you can say, hey, I want these layers displayed and these layers frozen, and you can even say, hey, through this, in this view, in this plot preview, I want the dimensions layer to be red instead of the magenta that's in the layer property manager. So you got a lot of control with what you see in the layer properties, layout by layout. So you can have a layout for the foundation, a layout for the electrical, a layout for this and that, by having each layout rigged to freeze and thaw different layers. Let's see. Why do I not? Let me move my, oh, okay, I'm at the end of my layouts. I also used the old house plan. Before we moved, we thought about putting the master bedroom on the ground floor. And these are 4 different variations of how I could build a full bathroom in the ground floor. I think by setting up that layer state, the second floor layers got frozen. Let me select one, control. Oh gosh, why are all of them locked? Not a problem. I'll select them all, I'll unlock them all, and I'll thaw them all. And hopefully, all right. I gotta go viewport by viewport. It's I hate it when this happens. Why are the plumbing fixtures not showing? Always something. I was expecting the, if we convert this space, we could have a toilet, sink, and a walk-in shower. Another one would have, we'd sacrifice some of the pantry to put a bathtub or walk-in shower in the half bath. And then I go back to the model space. Yeah. Okay. Didn't I tell you to leave, control everything with freeze thaw instead of on off. Oh, well, I'll have to punt. Sorry about that. Not sure what I did that the plumbing layer isn't showing. This is my father's house, or old house. He's got one set of layers that show the square footage. This is more for record keeping. So if he repaints a room, he can, he's got documentation of how much paint to get. He's got another set of layers. This is the first floor, crosshatched for carpeting. And I think you used this and handed it to the concrete worker with all these kind of as a contract. Or maybe these are reminders. I was in college, I was down here when had it put in. These are kind of like reminders of what to tell the contractor, what to put in the written contract. I haven't figured out, I'm not sure if these horizontal lines are, at first I thought they were potential for hot water lines to melt snow off, but now I'm thinking they're surveying points. So the slope is gradual the way you wanted it. Anyway, let's see, basement. He's got documentation of where all the outlets are. I think, well, I'm not sure. I assume the number next to the outlet symbol here, which should have been a, well, most professional drawings have these outlets as a rubber stamp instead of two lines and an octagon. There's that, a circle. Let's do an RE. Okay, that's a circle, not an octagon. Anyway, I'm guessing this is a circuit number. 4-foot fluorescent lights. What's this? Okay, some records. What colors he used, so he doesn't have to keep the can anymore. Here's an attic. Hardly anything done. I think he was going to put the electrical outlets in the attic. And anyway, moving right along. Okay, then I got my AutoCAD so narrow. Here's a floor plan a student turned in. I think this was a credit class. You might say she got a little carried away. Let me regen to get things round again. But she, arrayed and made a rubber stamp out of these ceiling fans. Now, I can't remember if this is her house current or the house after she adds the deck and all this other stuff. But she's got a frog, which is finished room over garage. And where's the, here we go. She's got a layout that controls all the layers so that only the finished room over the garage is shown. I don't know if this could be rented as an apartment or not. Just for reference, the foundation, I assume, of the ranch house is shown. Here's the deck alone. That's about what all I can show you for personally drawn floor plans. Well, it's almost 10 till 5. Let's get underway. Just occurred to me, I sure hope I got the recording going on. Let me check. Okay, pause recording is an option, so I believe I got it running well. Let's start with a brand new start from scratch drawing. To save time, no, I think these are entirely different layer names than we had in the floor plan work the last couple weeks. Notice that the names of the layers are the same as the line type used in the layer. So let's start from scratch. Click Start Drawing. It uses a basic AW or ACAD.DWT template. Okay, my command area is acting up again. It can't stretch it out. Anyway, let's make these layers like shown on page 6-1. And when we get there, I'll show you loading line types, assigning line types to layers. And I'll have to admit this is a little confusing. But anyway, we'll click Layer Properties. And we'll machine gun some new layers like usual, and we'll give them names. All the 3 centerline layers are red. So once we create one, we ought to select it and then click New so we don't have to change the color and the line type for each new layer. Center line type we're going to use on center layer. Default. Okay, now center layer should have center line type. Well, unlike color and line weight, when you click on the line type on a brand new start from scratch drawing, you ain't got no menu. All that's available is continuous. And this is, might be old fashioned now, but back in '82 when AutoCAD first came out, computers were slow and hard disks were small. So the ACAD, well, that was before templates, but the start from scratch drawing was minimal size. For some reason, colors don't swell up a drawing, but line types do. It's as if a drawing stores the Morse code, so to speak, defining each of these broken line types. I probably ought to do it again. Never think about it except when I'm teaching this lesson. But once I loaded, I don't know, 50 line types or something and compared a blank drawing with only continuous with a blank drawing with 50 line types loaded, and I concluded that each line type swelled the file, I believe it was 700 bytes, just for the math equation for the Morse code. So anyway, yet to this day, start from scratch drawing only has continuous. So to add the center flavors and the hidden flavors for this exercise, we need to click the load button here. So we'll back up a minute here. We back up, well, what the heck? We'll close that. Little review, we'll click properties. After you close and open, they're in alphabetical order. Again, we'll click on the line type. Only got continuous, so we need to fatten up our file with only the line types we need. I'll click load, and nobody selects one and Control A to select them all. These are just overwhelming how many there are. And a lot of people will create custom line types. Like there's the gas line. They might go in and edit the text file with this coding in and replace GAS with I ought to know this stuff. SD for storm drain, I think. SS for sanitary sewer. Anyway, where were we? We want to load the center line types. Okay, now we'll assign center to the layer name center, but here we're loading, not assigning. So I'm going to hold the control button down and select all 3 flavors of center line types. And I'll explain what the center 2, and center X2 means in a second. If I was smart, I'd load the hidden lines, but just for repetition, I'll repeat the process for hidden lines. We got them all selected. We'll click OK. Now those 3 flavors of center are in the menu, but I still have not assigned one to the layer yet. Okay, I got them loaded in the drawing. They're available, but I still need to assign each one to a respective layer. I'll select center after having loaded it and click OK, and the selected layer here will be assigned that selected line type. Now that I got center selected, I click the new icon, and upcoming layers are clones of the selected layer, so it saves a little bit of work. We got a layer named center 2, and I'll demonstrate this later. Adding the 2 to the name of the line type means that it's got twice as many gaps and twice as many lines. So you know, a 10-foot line drawn with center 2 will have twice as many gaps in it as a same length of line drawn with the center line type. I'll click on I got a menu built. I'll click on the line type, up pops the menu. I'll assign center 2, and this isn't very accurate, but they try to give you what you see is what you get here. You can see the center 2 line type has got shorter gaps and shorter lines than the normal, average, or basic, whatever you want to call it. Center X2 is just the opposite. Instead of having shorter and more gaps, center X2 has fewer and longer gaps and line types. Anyway, getting back to center 2, we'll select it, we'll click OK. There we go. I think there's all default line weight and unlocked. Interesting that, you know, the icon's different. This is a very old screen capture. Anyway, we'll go to center X2. You can name these Fred, Joe, and Bob, but you know, just for convenience, again, I like to name the layer exactly the type of line I'm using on it. We'll click on center X2 and center 2, and say, hey, I want that layer to use the long breaks and long lines line type, center X2. And I wish these 3 were in alphabetical order from short, medium to long, but now they got medium, short, long, just because of the letters in the name. In fact, I might make a suggestion. You know, they rename center so that it comes before center 2, like center, I don't know, center 0 or center 1, or anyway. We'll select center X2 for the center X2 layer. And we'll rename the layer to hidden. Handout says cyan, which is very faint on white paper, but we'll deal with that. We'll click continuous, and hey, I haven't loaded the 3 hidden flavors of line types yet. So we'll go again to load, scroll down to the hidden flavors, hold the control button or the top and bottom with shift between them to select all 3. Here's a little reminder. Hidden is the average or basic. Hidden 2 is much more and much shorter line types. Interesting, they got 0.5x. I guess that's supposed to mean that the lines are half as long. And the hidden X2, they got 2x. Supposedly the line types are twice as long. So we'll load these 3, and make note that you got, you know, dash dot. Batting is, I guess they're stuck with description using alphanumeric characters. Batting is kind of a, you know, woven pattern for insulation. These top ones that say ACAD_ISO, these are kind of reserved for the architects to use. So, that's about all I want to say. They're kind of, you got to have a really, really big area to use these, like a 50 by 30 foot area if you're showing electric lines across a room, where the hidden and center are kind of intended for little football sized drawings. Fence line. Okay, I thought fence line had X's in it, but here they got circles or squares. Where was I? Did I load them? Don't think so. Select the 3 flavors of hiddens. Click OK. Menu fattens up for hidden. We'll assign hidden line type. Now with the hidden layer selected automatically by working on it, we'll click new and then get hid 2Ds hidden 2 for the twice as many lines. Up, we'll leave cyan where it is. Change hidden to hidden 2 for more short lines, and new for hidden X2 for the long lines. Change the line type to hidden X2 for fewer but longer breaks in the broken line. Object, not sure what they use at the shipyard. Whoops. Renamed object. That's where our solid lines would be. I've been using green for academic work. And since the object in your drawing is most important, it should have the fattest or heaviest line weight of all the lines. So knowing the default is currently set to 0.25, the green continuous object lines will be twice as fat. So we'll set the line weight to 0.5, half a millimeter. Click OK. I think I got them all. Okay, it's probably wise to set current the green object layer rather than keeping the 0 layer current and changing the layers later. So with objects selected, again, you can double click on it or click on this little green check mark, and that'll set the object layer current. Again, you got a little visual reminder up here in the corner where what the current layer is. We'll click OK and proceed to draw our flange spacer. Before I forget, again, the LTScale setting is like a bucket of steroid that pours over the entire drawing so that every broken line swells up with longer gaps and lines. The higher the LTScale, the longer the gaps and lines will be. And therefore, the fewer gaps and lines there'll be in a given length of line. This is Burgener's philosophy. Let me zoom in if I can remember how to do the zoom in. Zoom to 150 as I recall. And yeah, I've always been using the center line, the sniper target or the bullseye, whatever you call it. The line is exactly 1.3 times the diameter of the circle. So I'll show you. You draw from top quadrant to bottom. You know, this is Burgener's way. Again, there's a new way that's kind of built into dimensioning that some people like. I'll show that later. But anyway, go quadrant to quadrant, scale it from the center of the circle or midpoint of the line to 1.3, and then mirror that line about a 45-degree line. And this is, again, why I like to have students set their polar tracking to 45-degree increment instead of 90-degree. Same with this. The center line is 1.3 times the diameter of the circle. And I don't expect students to do this, but I've got a hidden line arc here so that I got the plus sign perfectly dead center. And then from the end of that arc to the end of the next perfectly centered center line, right in here, I got a separate arc. You know, if I was hiring you, I certainly wouldn't pay you the extra minute and a half or whatever it takes to do it this way. But it sure looks good on your portfolio when you upload your sample, your work to your next employer. Here's the hidden line. Someplace it says here, yeah, leave LTScale set to 1. So each and every hidden line is adjusted by the modifier in the properties of the object. I'll get to that later. Need to put an asterisk right there on 45. Okay, what other notes we got here? There's my, yeah, don't worry with dimensions. We'll learn later, I hope. Scale center lines 1.3 times the diameter. For this exercise, I did hidden lines on the hidden X2 layer with the LTScale modifier set to 3. All right, what's the dimensions of this thing? Why are there no dimensions? Oh, that's because this is an exercise. Get my Zoom stuff out of the way. Why do I not say what exercise that is? Always something. Okay, now that I think of it, this is the first time I've used this in my effort to, go to the textbook instead of made up stuff. So I got good reason to require the textbook. Flipping through here to find that exercise. If anybody finds it first, shout it out. I'm up into the 60s and haven't found it yet. I don't know that the book has these, and here we go. It's number 72. Note to self. Put down, hey, dimensions are on exercise 72 of your textbook for the next revision. Exercise 72 is page 6-1. So I got my book open to 72. I'll machine gun a bunch of these circles as usual. I'll probably won't be smart enough to change my current layer, but probably a good habit. Let's see. Everything is dimension and diameter, so we'll start with center diameter. Remember, you can't hit enter to use center diameter again, because this icon has got the option built into the icon. So click the icon each time until you learn the typing way. I'll pick a random point. The diameter in the center, according to exercise 72, is 12. Click the icon again, home in, having Burgener's 5 favorite object snaps rigged. And the hidden line Coming up is 20. Kind of fat fingered it. 20, enter. We can change it to, is that right? Yeah, I guess so. We can change it to the hidden layer now or later. Oh, wait a minute. All hidden lines are on hidden X2. All right. We'll move that hidden line to hidden X2 layer. Now notice the dashes. Let me zoom in. The dashes, how to put this, there's more gaps than shown in my handout. You know, slightly more. So we want to put an eyedropper of steroid on this unique object alone, not change LTScale. Let me, don't follow me here, but watch this out. If I change LTScale, or the abbreviation or alias is LTS, I think it's in a dialog box, but it takes several steps to get to it. We'll take LTScale of 1. Let's see, we set it to say 10. And check it out. See, the gaps are now, I believe, 10 times as long as they were. Hit enter for the last used command. You'll set it down to 1. Handout says leave LTScale set to 1. So leaving LTScale set to 1, we want to eyedrop the steroid to this object alone, and that's done in the properties of this object. Remember how we get properties? I'll hit escape to start over. We select the object. I guess it's possible to click this guy here, but I think it's easier to right click and pick properties near the bottom of the cursor menu. And let's resize it for convenience. Always something. Maybe dock it on the side. Whoa! Come on. There. All right. Reshape the columns. Now check it out. It says here, line type scale. Doesn't that look like it's the long version of LTScale? Well, it's not quite. If they ask me, I'd say change this to LTS Modifier or LTS Tweak or LTS, I don't know. Anyway, this is the line type, this is the modifier, the eyedropper of steroid to just the selected objects. Handout says I used LTScale modifier of 3 for the hidden lines. For some reason, I only used LTScale of 1 for the center lines on the center X2 layer. Where was I? We'll go to LTScale modifier in properties, change the modifier. We want to watch the gaps in the broken line type. Poof, they swell up because I put a drop of steroid to double the bulk of these gaps. So I believe I've been telling students, if you know the LTScale modifier here in the properties, and you know the global LTScale for the entire drawing, it's possible you can count these gaps and use this as a measuring tape. I'm sure nobody does, but I don't know, maybe the center line of ships might be rigged so you count the gaps per foot, to get distance easy by the center line of the carrier. Anyway, I'll hit escape to bail out. Again, cyan's pretty faint. Let's see, the next circle is this center line of the bolt centers. And page 72 says that is diameter 32. So we'll go up here to center diameter icon, or C enter, D enter, if you're quick with a typewriter, excuse me, keyboard. We'll home in on the center again. Click somewhere, move aside to get the visual. We're specifying a diameter, not a radius. And 32, enter for the diameter. Zoom out of here. Let's move this, Burgener says, to center line X2. We'll move it to center line X2. And again, I got a short arc across the hole, and then a slightly longer arc, and then a lot fancier work than I expect y'all to do. Where was I? Double checking, line type scale is set to 1. The default, hit escape to bail out. The last circle on the outside of this flange is diameter of 42. Home in on the center. Yep, we're in center, circle center diameter, 42, enter. Each of these 6 holes is diameter of 5. Probably easiest to start at the one at a quadrant, top quadrant. Sometimes it's the one centered on the 3 o'clock quadrant. Let's go to circle center, O snap at the top quadrant. And what I say, 5, enter. Let's at least get the vertical, but don't worry about, sometimes in credit classes, I nitpick, to get the plus sign dead center. But, again, I doubt anybody would pay you to do it. Where was I? Oh, we'll make current the center X2 layer, because all of these red lines are in the center X2 line type on the center X2 named layer. So we'll set current center X2. Probably will be quicker. Anyway, we'll simply draw a line from top dead center to bottom dead center. Got almost a plus sign, but don't believe it just yet, because the line's not the right length. The longer the line is, the more short lines you get. Now that I'm looking at it, there is a little bit of variation. It looks like there's 3 gaps now from that length to that length. So I think I'll stop saying you can use it as a tape measure, because the length can fluctuate maybe 10 or 20%. Still have anyway, let's scale this guy. L for last would work. O snap at the midpoint of the vertical line, or the center of the green circle, or the quadrant of the red circle. Move aside to get the warm and fuzzy. You're in the scale command and type 1.3, enter. Good. It wasn't long enough to get a second break. Now, before I forget, I'm going to erase this, but for the for the hole in the middle and the holes on the second page here, let's see, zoom in. It's very easy just to, after you've invested a few steps into building this one, just mirror it about a 45-degree line at that center, midpoint, or quadrant. Go up to your choice of a 45-degree line, not a 90-degree increment. Da, 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 da. And if I deleted the circle, it would have a perfect plus sign in the middle. Okay, I think I bailed out before hitting enter for that last question of the mirror command. Might as well just array the vertical line and the circle 6 times and get her done. Okay, polar array. Select the objects. Okay, we'll select those 2 objects and hit enter. Specify the center point of array, dead center of all these concentric circles. Then come down. By default, it's 6, so we don't need to, but be aware you can click on items and change it to 8 or 20 or 50,000. Well, maybe not that much, but let's set it back down to 6. Hit enter to conclude the array command. Now we need to draw the right side view. And notice that everything on the right side view perfectly lines up with the front view. So I think it's a good investment. The machine gun guidelines from quadrants and centers all the way to the middle, and then mirror them all to double them. Interesting, I don't have one dead center. There is a construction line icon. I really haven't, gotten a, where is it? Okay, I thought it had 2 dots in it. Anyway, with this construction line, you can just machine gun 2 points, hit enter, and that line goes on forever and ever. Here I'm hitting the limits of the view res, but it goes on forever, ever. However, when you double click to do a zoom extents, it ignores the length of that forever long line. So some people like to do that and just copy it, oh snap, all the way down. To each his own. I'm an old dog, so by the way, LT or line weights, again, most CAD operators like the razor thin lines and only turn on the line weight display when they get close to plotting. And again, the resolution of your monitor says how fat it is. So you can't really trust the plot on paper to look like a screen capture of what you're looking at. A cheap low res monitor will have, 5 pixels will be less wide than a super expensive high res monitor. So anyway, let's again, it's probably wise, should have put it up here, probably wise to put your guidelines or your construction lines, if you want, on a unique layer. I'll assign it a unique color. Handout shows a color 30, or call it color 40. Just happen to select, set it current, get rid of the layer property dialog box. Machine gun 2 points, plenty far enough away. Why does that not? I think the view res is biting me there. Now just machine gun this from quadrant and center all the way down to the middle, and then it's 2 seconds quicker to mirror it all. Where was I? Copy. Select my, okay, the center line was selected when I created the new guideline layer, so it's got the center X2 line type. That's fine. We can change it to continuous later if necessary. Select that and just machine gun all the way down, not to the ends of the center lines. Dimensioning, you want to go to kind of, well, no. I was about to say you want to dimension to the end of the center line, but I read in a global standard that you should not have a gap between the extension line of the dimension and the center line. So I've been habitually snapping at that quadrant or a near point somewhere in the middle. So there is no gap. Where was I? Well, I don't know if drawing here, let me zoom in on this. Can I freeze the layer? I think new PDF, no. Some PDFs have, the layers ride in, but I'm not smart enough to do that. Anyway, if we follow the handout from the top and bottom quadrants and centers of each of these, and I just realized I did not, I did put center lines in there. Well, let's kind of make it a section view. In fact, I got a note here. It's not too early to teach you cross-hatching. Let's change this into a full section view, as if the thing is sawn in half. Sawn, sawed, cut in half. So we got, I think, the basic guidelines. If we cut this guy right down the middle, let's mirror the top ones across 2 points in the middle. Now all we need from the right view is 1, 2, 3 dimensions and connect the dots. We'll start, let's see, set current the object layer. There we go, set current the object layer. Draw, anticipate, well, we won't get into dimensioning yet, but, anticipate the space dimensions. It's good to put dimensions between views. So you might have a little more white space than you expect if you're going to dimension. We won't dimension, so be a little bit closer. Go down and I'll shave off that whisker. With the trim command, hit enter, click it away. We'll offset this guy. Let's go to the book. 5 units. And then draw, and maybe copy these to 10 units to the right. No. Anyway, we'll get there soon enough. Offset, what did I say? 5, enter. Select the guideline, click on the side, hit enter. I'm going to disable the line weight fatness. While we're in here, we'll draw some object lines top and bottom. Okay, this hidden line. Yeah, the object line in the middle of the spacer lines up with the top quadrant of this hidden X2 line here. So one way, maybe not the quickest, but one way is to draw a object line from there and direct distance it with polar tracking on and set to 45 or 90. There's our 9-unit long line. Pretty cool, huh? Let's mirror this guy, enter, about the midpoint of that 10-unit line. And we can mirror or redraw this further down. Fortunately, when you click on a stack of lines, the newest one get selected. Years ago, it was a random one would get selected, I think. So it's a nice feature now. Enter. Oh, snap. 2 horizontal lines. There we go. We got to get, oh, nuts. Well, that's okay. Yeah, let me erase this guy. Let's draw all the lines before we do the mirroring. We want hidden lines at top and bottom of this top hole, and hidden lines at the top and bottom of the bottom hole. And between the hidden lines, we want a 1.3 times the spacing of, the 5-unit spacing for a red center line. Let's go to the hidden X2 layer, click line, and click, enter, enter, click, enter, enter. And we'll go to hidden or center 2, put a line indicating the center of the cylinder, so to speak. Now, we need the red line to stick a little bit further out, right and left, so let's follow Burgener's 1.3 scale rule again. Scale, select that, or L enter for last, enter. O snap with midpoint, one of Burgener's 5 favorite O snaps. And type 1.3 and hit enter. Now we could copy these hidden lines, or can we? Nope. That hidden line would go all the way across, or would it? I'm an idiot. This 10-unit line should be up here. Here I'm talking and working at the same time. So let's erase one. Go back to hidden X2 and put it on the 10, enter. Should have been an object line, not a hidden line. Now this represents the hole it goes through. So let's wait until we mirror this rectangle with the 4 hidden lines and the 2 center lines before we draw the hidden line, the entire depth of the spacer. We can mirror these 3 lines to put them right down here. Again, we're pretending we cut right through this, and we'll crosshatch it later. So whoops, missed it. Mirror, we'll select with a regular window that selects everything that's enclosed. Enter. Ask for first and second points of mirror line. Pick 2 points along the center line and hit enter. And there we go. Let me lose this guy and mirror this one. I see no need for these guidelines now. You can erase them if you want, but keep in mind it might be better to freeze the layer they're on just in case you need to come back to develop a handout for the next class that's going to use this. If you freeze them though, remember they're frozen if you go to move the entire front and right side view. The frozen stuff will not move with the visibles, the thawed stuff. So anyway, let's thaw this guy. We can come up here and click the freeze icon. Being incredibly lazy, I'm going to click this freeze icon. Click on any object on the guideline layer and its history. Let's mirror this guy across center line like we did earlier. Enter. Now let's go to hidden line is still current, so let's go. Okay, the guidelines would have been come in handy here. Put the hidden line in. I hate to tell you this, but we're going to convert everything to object lines for the section view. Where was I? Okay, I can just erase these guys. I don't have to trim them because I started and ended to get these guys. So erase, get them. Now, double checking here. I believe it's standard to have center lines in section views, but usually not hit any hidden line, and usually they're not dimensioned. There's a lot of other factors to consider. So here's a good use for the layer isolate icon. I think I very briefly mentioned this last week, that I use it a lot. Here's an excellent example of when I use it. We'll isolate everything that's on the cyan hidden layer so we can move it all to the object layer. Click isolate, click anything on the hidden layer, hit enter. Now we got a clear shot at everything that's hidden, except for this. Let's ignore that. We got everything in the right side view. We'll select it all and drop down and change it to object. Oh, okay. Because we got hidden layer isolated, everything is off now. I don't know why it uses off instead of the more efficient freeze, or anyway, where was it? We'll move it to the object layer. Yeah, it gives you a warning. Hey, you just moved it to a layer that's either frozen or off. You sure you want to do this? Yeah. Where did it go? Just click the unisolate icon, and that'll turn all those layers currently off back to on. Okay. Let's carve out, trim away the garbage. Imagining we cut through there, you're not going to see this green spot right here, or the green spot here. So we'll launch trim, hit enter so that everything is a cutting edge, machine gun all over the place to get rid of those extra lines, and hit enter. Okay, now the new part. I don't know why I just thought of modifying the homework assignment, this late. Somebody that's working straight off the handout instead of watching the recording, will miss this, but I'll cut them some slack. The general cross-hatching pattern is 45 degrees evenly spaced lines. That's the generic material. As I understand it, cast iron was in place before steel. So the first, well, they weren't CAD operators, the first pencil operators, or feather and ink operators, when cross-hatching patterns were assigned to materials, the easiest pattern was assigned to the only metal material. So the simple one is when it's used to indicate a material, it's used to indicate cast iron, because cast iron was first. Drawings had it indicating cast iron, then steel came along, and rather than changing all the old drawings, they added a new, slightly more complicated style of cross-hatching. Anyway, cross-hatching is on the draw panel of the home tab of the ribbon. And just for my own sake, gradient is this, it fluctuates from bright, it's a little too artsy for me. Boundary's kind of handy. If you select boundary cross hatching and click in an area, it'll put a perimeter around the area. I'm going to kind of emphasize that in intermediate classes. Saves you a little bit of work. Anyway, let's go to the hatch icon. Oh, let's create a hatch layer. I've been typically using regular navy blue, whatever, color number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or name blue. Set it current for good measure. Now, where were we? Go to the hatch icon. Now, it's easier if you got perfectly corners that are sealed. There's no tiny little air gap in there. Those of you that, why is object snap turned off? I wonder if it automatically turned off until I make my decision. Anyway, the slightest air gap will likely, not always, but likely cause the cross hatching to fail or look weird. Let's use the pick points method instead of the select objects method. Okay, we'll click pick points, click in all 6 objects that we want to put this generic, non-material specific pattern in. Now check it out. That's way too close together. Ideally, you want these spaced 1/8 of an inch on the paper. And there's a new feature called annotative cross-hatching that'll force it to be 1/8 inch spaced. Unfortunately, you gotta know what plot scale you're going to print it out on. And I haven't seen drawings that take advantage of annotation, possibly because you got to plan ahead so far with what your plot scale is going to be, hours or days later. Anyway, we got all the areas specified. However, they're so fine. Before we commit to it, we can always edit it later, but before we commit to it, let's change the scale of the pattern from the default 1 to, I'm kind of guessing 3, and hit enter. Now, assuming we're going to print it out the exact size I see it on my screen, that's still too close together. Let's go to 5. Yeah, maybe 6. Later in the plot preview, we'll have a little more accurate. Nobody's going to hold a micrometer to, well, I would, but in professional business, nobody would measure the 1/8 of an inch and make you fix it if it's a 64th too short or too wide, too off. Be aware you can change the angle. By default, this cast iron pattern is at 45 degrees, kind of like wallpaper that's at 45-degree stripes. I'll undo this, but you can change it to say 15 and it'll rocket counterclockwise 15 degrees. And when you got a gazillion parts together, it's very polite to have a slightly different angle. So you can tell that, oh, this is part of this. You with me? Another rule of thumb is you don't want the crosshatch lines to be parallel nor perpendicular to the object lines. So anyway, starting to babble. I think we're all set. Let's hit enter to commit to it. If you see something go wrong, just double click on it and you're given a chance either on the contextual ribbon or on this pop-up. You're listed. Let's put it back to 45. Should have done this before. Hello. I'm sorry. Put it back to 0 because the wallpaper, rolled straight up your wall has got 45-degree lines. So the angle is 0, not 45. There's that annotative. There's the pattern. ANSI 31 is the standard industrial spec for cast iron. Steel is ANSI 32. Close, let's see, hit escape. There, we're done with our page 1-2 assignment. I'm sorry, page 6-1. Take a well-deserved break. It's a little after 5:45. Let's reconvene at, say, 6 o'clock. Give you 13 minutes. Again, once we get close to plotting out, tap on the line weight, but be aware the coming out on paper might be more or less than what it looks like on your screen based on the quality of your monitor. And again, line weight should never be used to indicate 1/4-inch gauge tubing or diameter of electrical wire or edge view of plywood or anything, because it's it comes out perfectly 0.5 millimeter on the paper, regardless of what 1/2 millimeter on the paper represents at that plot scale. Anyway, I hope you take away from this exercise. And I set that to, yep, mod 2. All these broken lines should have, interesting, why does it say varies? Oh, I haven't put, apparently I got anyway, looks like something went wrong. I'm not going to explode the array to fix it, but everything should be LTScale 2, LTScale modifier. Let's see what happens when I force it to 2. Interesting. Undo. Okay, somehow I missed that. I failed to adjust the LTScale modifier for the bolt center circle. So that's why I was getting various instead of, why did it not change to 2? 2 enter. There. Now I'm guessing it's got 2 short sections between holes instead of 1, because I didn't do the fancy arc to get the plus signs in the center of each bolt. So the way I did the handout, this segment is short, so only 1 break will display. Just for additional training, if we change LTScale, the global bucket of steroid on the entire drawing to something high, the gaps get incredibly long. In fact, they're so long that the short center lines that I arrayed are not long enough to form the first break. Okay, if we change LTScale to something less than 1, say 0.2, now the breaks are so close together you can't see them till you zoom in. Not good. So let's change the LTScale, or simply LTS, back to the default of 1, as the handout says. Any questions? I forget. We're going to 6 o'clock, right? Yeah. Okay, let me get a refill of whatever I'm drinking here. See you at 6. Hey. Abby. Still working. Anybody got any questions?
Hello, Mr. Paul. How are you?
I'm doing well, Ty. How's yourself?
I'm turning my homework in tonight. I had a rough weekend with
Oh
work.
dear.
Work is kicking my butt. It was Super Bowl, so it was a lot of delivering. So
Well, that's right.
then,
Forgot you had a part-time gig.
yeah, and then on top of that, I kept downloading the file and I kept getting all this crazy stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I don't have AutoCAD on my regular computer.
Okay.
So I got frustrated with that. I'm like, well, how am I supposed to file this?
By regular computer, you mean your shipyard computer, or?
Well, when I was using my home laptop to pull up my email.
Okay.
And then when I looked at the file, I went to download it and it kept coming up with the crazy stuff.
Right.
Because I don't have AutoCAD on my actual computer.
I'm with you.
So
Okay.
I had to forward it to myself. And I was like, oh, okay, never mind. I'm slow today.
I'm trying to think. There are some dirt cheap and free AutoCAD workalikes, but I don't know if it'd be a good idea to install one on your laptop.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was looking at a couple of them where you can download as a student, or you can just download like the one that you had sent us was on sale for like 99 or for 113 or something. Right. But I just have never got around to it since they said I could use the work laptop. That's money I have to spend. I'm happy.
I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
Got a few minutes here. Let me save this and I'll open it up in one of those cheapy workarounds. Trying to think, there's a NanoCAD, an old version of NanoCAD that's free forever. And I did arrange, I don't think we got the Newport News School Systems emails anymore to get the free IntelliCAD. So let's see, yeah, we'll ruin up 21, student work 6. Where am I? Let's see, this is Paul WK6. DWG's added automatically. And we'll close it. We'll close AutoCAD, and here is NanoCAD 5.0. Send me a link if you're interested, or send me an email. I'll send you the link.
Okay.
And you'll see that these AutoCAD workalikes are incredibly close to AutoCAD. You learn one, you can easily learn the transition to the other.
Gotcha.
Let's see, 2020 student work. I lost the fancy AutoCAD icons because I downloaded another CAD system. I hope I'll return it once I uninstall it. Where was I? Week 6. Where's Paul? There we are.
Cool beans. Thank you.
Anytime. There's draw panel, modify. I think you gotta specify which floating toolbars you get up. You've got working. This is kind of like AutoCAD was several revisions ago. But here, you know, line, click, click, L enter works just like in AutoCAD. Circle, you got the circle fly out. No, you don't. Circle D for diameter. No, you don't. There we go. Anyway, I'll shut it down and get back to CAD. Almost end the break. Do you want to save? No. Back up to AutoCAD. This is my textbook draft. Open. There we are again. All right, well, this is taking a bit longer than I thought. Let's just do this bottom one. And can I comment on this? There we go, comment. And we'll, just for the video, we'll not do this one. Let's do the second one. And then nibble on a couple of the homework down here. See no reason to start a new drawing. Change the zoom scale. Zoom 150 again. Get out of this, how do I get out of the editing? Okay. Oh, I damn it. All right, still expecting me to comment on this. Anyway, we'll leave LTScale a 1. I use center 2 for the short, center for the average, and center X2 for the long, and hidden for all hiddens. You know, again, the center lines you could do with just one line type and layer. But then the super long ones will have a super high LTScale modifier and properties. So I don't know which is better. Might be simpler just to make all your center lines on center layer. And the small one's got a small LTScale modifier and properties, and the large ones have a high LTScale modifier and properties. Anyway, let's start here. Got 2 views. We'll build the guidelines again. Some people might say you should have a top view, but it would look very similar to this side view, right? No, it would look very similar to the front view if you were looking down, because they both the top view and the front view would have all this hidden line. Anyway, let's start with the dead center of the circle. Diameter 1, diameter 4, circle center diameter. Oh, let's go with object layer. Circle center diameter again. Pick a point, any point, diameter of 1. And the outer one is a diameter of 4. Some people might dimension that with radius instead of diameter. Not sure which way is popular for a 180-degree arc. Circle center diameter 4, enter. Okay, this is 7 units wide, so it'll be 3.5 each way from the center point. So let's draw a 3.5 unit line. Dead center. 3.5, not 3,5. I got off of the polar tracking angle. Not a problem. We'll right click and undo and be more careful. 3.5, checking, good. Let's come down 4 inches across to up 0.75. Maybe work our way to the midpoint, and we'll eventually mirror it about the midpoints or the center of the circles. Line, O snap, polar track 4 down, 2 to the left, 0.75 up. And 1.5. By the way, with O snap tracking on, maybe I should teach that earlier. Instead of typing 1.5 to go back, I can just acquire this point, come down until I get double polar tracking lines and click. So I don't have to read the dimension and I don't have to type the dimension if I know it's lined up with any of these bottom quadrants. Let's see, center line, I hope is dead center. I can't remember. Okay, there. Dead center is in 2 units up and it's 4 up, so it's midpoint there. So let's go to center. Nope. Okay, that one would be on center X2. Again, you can use center 2 for short lines with a super high modifier. I won't ping you whichever way, since I'm not sure which is popular and which is best. Where was I? We'll go to center X2 just to use all the object snaps. By coincidence, the quadrant is dead center. Now we're going to have well, I'll decide later if I scale this guy by 2 or just mirror it. In fact, I think I'm going to be scaling it by 2 to multiply it by 1.3. I didn't do this immediately before class. Maybe I should have. Let's see. The counter bore here, the diameter of 2, and it's 1 unit deep. So let's draw a circle that's diameter is 2, just so we can find that quadrant to draw the counter bore. 1 unit. Come down 2, which should perfectly line up good. The center hole is 1 unit diameter, so we want to offset this a 1/2 unit each way. And we'll change the line type accordingly later. Offset 0.5. Oh, didn't stick. 0.5, enter. Up, I keep hitting 5 instead of 0.5. Wish there were more drastic difference on the keyboard. 0.5, enter. Click up, click again, click down. Got enough there to do the hidden lines. Okay, let's lose the guideline circle. We'll change, let's see, select those three and these two and move them to one of the hidden lines. I think my handout says I only used hidden. Now we can let's scale the hidden lines and the bottom line here in these green. Everything except the center line. Mirror. Select everything, hold Shift, deselect the center line, enter, mirror it all across, enter. Let's scale this guy by a factor of 2, since I'm not sure where the breaks will be, and I want to do the 1.3. Okay, let's do a 1.3 scale. Could have gotten P for previous. Dead center 1.3, point, not comma. Okay, by sheer coincidence, it's got the 2 short lines without a LTScale modifier within properties. Let's trim away garbage. Trim, enter. Click, whoops, what happened? Trim, enter. Probably should have trimmed before mirroring. Okay, I got some garbage to erase. The trim command does have that erase option, but I never got used to it. Let's put a bullseye plus sign dead center of the circle. Let's probably should go to center 2 for the short lines here. If we're lucky, we won't need to modify the LTScale modifier in properties. Well, I don't see no break. Well, it's not the right length yet. We'll scale this guy from the midpoint to 1.3. Okay, now we count the breaks. And by coincidence or luck, we got the right number. We'll mirror this guy about the 45-degree mirror line. Enter. And that completes our left view, or our front view. Let's recall, turn on and set current, our guideline layer, and machine gun a bunch of guidelines. Never did change the line type. That's okay. Copy, select the last thing, and machine gun down. We'll snap center, end, or quadrant, or intersection. And again, I could mirror, but I'm going to change the layer type to guidelines. I'm sorry, the guideline line type to continuous. And again, I don't believe O-snaps have any trouble with the gaps in lines. Kind of never thought about it, so it must not have an effect. All right, we'll come over here. We'll draw a line. Rather than trimming, I'll do an O-snap override to a near point about right here. Shift right click near. And where do we want to start it? Again, we don't need space for dimensions, so I'll make it a little closer than the handout. Come down to that intersection across 2.7. Notice I forgot to change the current layer. Always something. Type the comma again. Wish I need to get a lighted keyboard. Where was I? 2.75, enter. Straight up till it hits an intersection, and C for close, or right click and close. Okay, let's select all this stuff and move it to the right layer and hit escape to deselect and set the right layer current. See, we got a object line there. These would be hidden lines. We do a circle from the midpoint, and a second circle at the midpoint. Let's do the hidden lines. Might, judging from the spacing, I can't tell if I'll need to use a LTScale modifier or not. Where was I at? Line. Click, 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 click. Nothing about the circular end here will be hidden, so we'll toggle back to solid or object, do a circle center diameter, rats. I need a guideline there. Well, it would be the middle between these 2 points. Let me demonstrate that. By coincidence, you know, the hole is in the middle of this surface. So dead center of that surface would be dead center between these 2 points. Circle command is asking for center point. I'll hold the shift button, right click, and pick between these 2 points I want to specify. Okay, what 2 points? That point and that point, and there you go. Diameter of the center one is 1, enter. Repeat the center diameter. Now I can home in on the center of that circle to do the diameter of 2, enter. Notice the handout, I got a slight air gap between the red line and the visible line. That's the standard way to show a center line that is under an object line. Put a tiny gap and then a red line. In blueprint reading, I hope they tell you, oh, there's a center of a cylinder or center of a hole coinciding with that object line. So we'll zoom in, go to the object layer, or I'm sorry, center layer. Any one of them is good enough. We'll start here, draw out, enter. Probably a little long, so we'll grip edit it a little shorter. And while it's selected, we'll hit move and nudge it a hair away. Oh, I'm sorry, it's on the wrong line. Move, select, enter, and move it to the correct line, which is not that one. Enter for the last use command. Select, move it down to the proper, get it right the third time. Use mirror command, enter, and mirror the remnant of the center line. We still got to do these guys. No point in drawing center lines for the small one. You know, go to the big one. And when, by the way, when there's an arc outside, like it's kind of debatable. Sometimes I You know, I'd like to have the center line go past the biggest circle. Well, what if the biggest circle is only a half a circle? Well, that's kind of topic for discussion. Anyway, we're on a red layer. This probably would be why I use, no, center, the average of the two, not the short one, but the average line, top to bottom. Okay, it's got a gap, but it may have two when I scale it. So don't go to the bank just yet. Enter, center, 1 point, not comma 3. Good, remains the same. Mirror, select, enter, midpoint. Okay, it's exactly like the handout, but I kind of cringe when a hidden center line touches an object line. You know, if this were copied in black and white, would somebody mistake that for an object line? You know, object lines are heavier, so probably minimal risk. I think we's done. Freeze the guideline layer again. What happened to my whisker there? Okay. Mirror, select, enter by right-clicking at the proper speed, enter. We got 620. I believe we're done with the second one on page 6-2. I could count the gaps to see if they're the same, but I'm too lazy. Any questions before we? Is that right? Somehow those hidden lines look a little far apart for that circle. What happened there? Always something. All right. Maybe I should go back to the guideline layer. I'll move this hidden line layer down to that pseudo guideline. Move, select, enter, click, and click. Delete that guy. You know, select and then hit E for, you know, what's that called? Noun verb instead of verb noun grammar. We'll mirror that recently drawn hidden line. If it was accidentally selecting the red, I could select it this way, hit enter. Any 2 points on that object line and hit enter. And we'll move this to guideline, or better yet, erase it. I'm going to thaw the guideline layer just to get rid of. I forgot to mirror that guy across. Not a problem. Yeah, looks like I snapped at the top of the center line. I did have the center line. I snapped at the bottom quadrant, but carelessly missed the top quadrant. My bad. All right, we'll just M for move, select it, and make it right the second time. We'll mirror that hidden line about this. Thought I did this already. Freeze the guideline layer. There we go. Any requests? Okay, hopefully I got time for 2, and then I'll assign you, say, 1 or 2 extra. Yeah, we'll make it easy for you. I'll do 2 at your request, and I'll assign you a third one that you'll have no help with. Does that sound fair? I kind of beat on you pretty hard recently. 32 uses the array command and some 40-degree guidelines and mirror the bottom circles on 42. I'm sorry, 32. 45 is that pillow block looking thing with a few typos on it. Not really hard. 71. Okay, that's personally, I think the little pin at the end of the shaft in exercise 71 is drawing a hair out of place. I think I did it the way it should have been drawn rather than the way it actually is drawn. They don't give you spacing for vertical on that pin, so you really don't have much choice. We just did 72. That's interesting. 72 was the exercise on page 6-1. Make a note to take it out of this homework assignment then. How about I'll do 32? I think that's a tough one. Maybe meanwhile look at 85 or 87, and for another one I'll give you.
Yeah, I'd like to go over 32.
Okay. I'm looking ahead to see if we can decide on a final, the one that you'll have no help with. 85 has got a top, front, and right side view. That means guidelines and going in both directions, and maybe I'll help you get started on it. Anyway, we won't commit to any of them. Where were we? 32? All right, what's this say? Come on, Burgener. Okay, that's the handout. I'm not sure if we need it anymore or not. Okay, I think we can put 32 in here as well. Okay, it's going to be what? Humongous. Yeah, they got a radius of 100 units. I can't remember the radius of this guy, but we'll find out. All right, 32, bottom of page 27, kind of redundant, but let's see, I habitually start at circles, usually, so let's start at the top 40 diameter circle. And draw the 31 radius bolt hole center, double checking that bolt holes are in fact on that object line, and then some radius of 6 circles that'll be trimmed to give you the frog eye. Anyway, we'll start with object layer, current, draw a circle, 40 units. I'll draw it to the side, and I think hopefully it'll wrap around this, so it'll be easy to print them out. That's okay. 40. Okay, not as big as I thought. The bolt hole circle slash object arcs is a radius of 31. Select center radius, so snap 31, enter. Let's concentrate on the circle at the 3 o'clock quadrant. And eventually array it 6 around. We'll draw, let's see, that is a diameter of 6 and then a radius of 6 for the frog eye. Diameter of 6, enter, turn off the line weights, and the radius of 6. Okay, now I'm going to array this guy just so I can find, well, there's 2 ways to go about it. I can array the 2 circles trimmed in the bullseye and then trim away a bunch of the little ways, but maybe that way is shorter. Nope, I'll do it the fancy way. What I want to get, I want to find out how long the arc is. I'm just kind of eyeballing it here, but where is the arc that touches the next frog eye? So I'll array an arc here, the frog eye, the circle, and maybe a perfectly professionally impressive bullseye in the middle of the circle. Lose that. Let's see, let's start with the center line. I'll worry about that later. Let's see, we'll go to a center line. Not sure which layer to make current, but that's okay. We'll go, okay, I want to go from there to there, the largest circle. Okay, that was a bad guess. Let's go to center X2, a larger one. I'll scale this guy by 1.3. And it's already the longest line type, so break my heart, I'll have to change this to say, I'm guessing 3, enter. Whoops. Good guess. Now, just so I can show off, I'm going to put instead of a straight line for the second, I'm going to put an arc for the second. So check it out. I'm going to draw a guideline circle, and then I'll trim away. I'll have to redraw it later, but that's okay. Trim, enter, click, click. Oh, it went all the way around. Good. We'll match property this to that, and if the wind's blowing right, we'll get the perfect dead circle. You know, sniper scope at each center frog eye, so to speak. Match property. Remember from lesson, what was it, 4, property in layers. To go there, we'll trim away the bottom 2 quadrants of this to form the frog eye. Trim, enter, click, click. And we'll delete, yes, delete the guideline circle. Now I'm going to temporarily array this 6 times just so I can get the arc length from end of the, you know, whatever you call this line, to the end, to the opposite, to the next frog eye. Then I'll change it back to a you know, change the items back to 1 and explode it and add that arc, and then rearray, you know, everything red and everything green plus the red partial arc. Where was I? Array, polar, select objects, enter. Center of array would be center of the big circle. By default, it's 6. We'll hit enter to agree with that. Now check it out. I want a red line to go from here to there with a spacing comparable to what's in the sniper scope or the bullseye. So I'll draw some guidelines for good measure so I can trim the new circle between them. Circle, O snap, trim. Instead of hitting everything, I just want these two things as cutting edges. Enter, click there. And if the wind's blowing right, I got a nice neat arc there. Let's see if I can match properties. Oop, that's right, this is an array, always something. All right, we'll double click on the array and change the items down to 6, I'm sorry, down to 1. And while it's selected, we will explode it. I think I can do it there. So now I got a bunch of loose stuff. We'll E for erase, get rid of those guidelines, and I'll pull up. I need to match properties this. Wait a minute. That's an object line, isn't it? My bad, rats. Yeah, this should be an object line. I'm going to reduce these down so that this line doesn't overlap with the object line. Slight gap, always something. Enter. I'm trying to match the handout. Looks like they hardly go through the small circle. We'll change the LTScale, say to 2, enter. And let's see. Rats. Well, this is hard, more work than I thought. We'll array this guy, base point, default to 6. And I'll extend, drop down trim to extend, hit enter so everything is a boundary, and there. Double click and change it back to 1, enter, explode it. Change this to the object layer. Now I'll array all this all this stuff 6 times. Center 6, enter. There's the top. Okay, looks like object lines come straight down. If I'm lucky, I can draw 2 circles down here and mirror the third one over. Go to object, line straight down from the midpoint, same point as the quadrant. And we'll overdraw it and later trim it back. We want a construction arc that's a diameter of 30 for the dead center of the 3 holes. I'll leave it on objects since I'll probably erase it later. Yeah, diameter. Oh snap, 30. Where'd it go? Somehow, anyway, we'll try it again. Circle diameter 30, enter. WTF. Oh, I'm an idiot. That's okay. The 30 diameter has something to do with the little, how many times did I just replicate 30 here? I don't know. Not sure where I put it, but it didn't go to where it should be because I'm looking at the wrong dimension. I want to do an R of 85, not 30. 85, enter. Now we're talking. Now at this intersection, okay, I should have done a radius of 85 instead of a diameter of 85. Not a problem. We'll click in the radius of 42.5 and change it within the properties as 85. 8, 5, enter. There we go. Okay, by the way, well, there's an object snap that would save us some work, but I'm just going to extend this guy, enter, down. So right there is where I'm going to put the right side bottom circle. And that is done with 20 diameter and 30 diameter. Okay. 20, enter. Click the circle center diameter again, and 30, enter. Let's mirror these two. No. I want to copy those two to that quadrant. And I don't need a guideline after all. Just copy, select them, enter. Oh, snap from the center to. Now, why does this look nothing like the assignment? Oh, because these pair are not directly below. They are at a 40-degree line from downward. Always something. So we'll draw a guideline down and we'll rotate it about this center line a negative 40 degrees. No, we'll rotate it positive 40 for counterclockwise. There we go. We'll move these two circles from that intersection to that intersection. We'll do a radius of 18 right here. Fill it, right click R of, what did I say? Forgot already. 18, hit enter. Click. Now, if I get a perfect sniper scope plus sign right there, and I guess I shouldn't hold you to this. Anyway, I don't think there's a need for an array because mirror will be just as quick. Okay, we'll trim away. Enter. Now what? Oh, let's extend, not trim. Trim. Enter so everything's a cutting edge. Flip that away. Scale these two by 1.3. Move them to, I'm guessing, the center X2 layer. Definitely needs some LTScale modifier. Select them both and LTScale modify, I'm guessing 6. Good. How do I transfer these to over there? Not a problem. Let me trim away. What happened? Something went wrong there. Let me delete. Select an E or delete for enter. Okay, R18. Radius, right click, 18 is probably still 18 anyway. Click and click. There we go. Really don't see a need for that at all, unless we're dimensioning. Now check it out. How can I get these two guys copied over here? You know, I can copy them straight and then rotate them 40 degrees. Another way would be to copy these two on top of themselves and rotate the copy 40 degrees. Not sure which is quicker, but let's see. Copy, we'll select the two, enter, pick the exact same point for the place the copy and hit enter. Now we'll rotate. A single click will pick the new ones of the copies, hit enter. Oh, snap there and type the -40, enter. Since they're over there, we'll mirror them back. There. Why is that line different than that? Okay, that is a radius of 110. It should be 85. What went wrong? All right, we'll start again. Okay, circle center radius, 85, enter. Oh, I think in the scaling process, that's where the radius changed. I should have seen that coming as much as often as I've done this. Okay, we'll trim, enter. We'll lose this guy and mirror, whoa, mirror this over. We'll match properties to match the there to there and delete the two construction circles. Match properties again. Okay, we can lose these guys. Again, construction circles. Draw an arc to this quadrant and trim it away. Always something, ain't it? Okay, we'll get rid of that. What's left? Just mirror it over to the left. Oh, I want to put a center line, the bullseye in the top here. We'll get that later. Mirror. Select everything. Enter. About vertical. Enter. We'll move it away. I was hoping I could, it's big enough, so I don't know how I'm going to print out your comment sheet. Here, that drawn up in landscape, that might be okay. I'll probably use a layout and zoom in with a viewport showing a close-up of this. All right, let's see, we'll draw, what the heck, let's draw, no, because we don't want the center lines to cover this up. Let's break my heart a bit, but let's. Shit! I hit I hit enter instead of. I'm sorry. Hit escape instead of space bar or enter. Okay, scale by 1.3.
Ah,
Scale. Select them both. Not sure what happened there. Oh, snap might have been biting me. Somehow I got an extra circle in there, didn't I? Yeah, I don't know how this happened, but this should not be there. Diameter of 30. Correct. That should not be there. Why? Okay, those were made when I was doing the 30 radius down here. They blend in so well, I didn't realize I was making them up top side here. Okay, got it. Move these two to the long center X2 layer, and while they're still selected, change the line type scale to 10. Nope. Not sure what went wrong. 20. I think I went too high. 10 again. There we go. I kind of wish this went outside of this circle, but then I'd have to clean it up to show the bullseye here. So we'll call it good enough. All right, got you another 10 minutes. Better save this before my pooter crashes. What's another one I should give you? All right, how about we'll do 87 for homework. That one's very similar, kind of, sort of, to the handout pages. You got a top view and a front view. Keyway's a little tricky. Well, we've had a keyway exercise before. Forget which day it was. So let's leave 87 for homework, and I'll do the 3-view one. Which one was that? 85 is a 3-view. Forgot about that. Okay, we'll start with the circles in 85. I'll draw construction lines to build the right side view and construction lines straight up to build the top view, and then a 45-degree line so I can connect, horizontal lines in the top view to the 45 and then straight down for the relative line in the right side view. Okay, we're on object. These circles are by, one's a radius, hidden line is, what the heck? Oh, okay, the hidden line is dimensioned in the top view. Probably not as good as it should be. You like to show the dimension in the view that shows the best shape, which would be the view that shows it in round instead of rectangle. 82 diameter, which I'll convert into hidden line later. The big one is 45 since I got hidden or center diameter. Center radius is 20. Let's change this guy to the hidden layer. Yeah, hid next to. We'll have to bump it up by maybe a factor of 10. What am I doing wrong? Enter. One, zero. Enter. I don't know why I'm getting into the cross hatching. All right, we'll keep it's back down to the 1 again. Okay, 1, 0, enter. Okay, it's a little bit coarse. Let's say 6, enter. That looks good. Now the gap in the middle is 10 units wide, so I'll draw a line straight across and offset it 10 units each way. Probably should have stopped there. I'll trim it back, enter, offset it 5 units up and 5 units down. Got no use for that middle one now. We'll trim, enter the junk away. And we got some stray whiskers that we'll get with. All right, what happened? Erase, enter, enter again, select, enter. So there's our front view. We'll go to guidelines, which is frozen. Cannot make a frozen layer current. Again, that's one of the differences between frozen and off. We'll, okay, I may end up moving this stuff. Guideline is current, and we move it to guideline. Double check guideline is current. We'll copy this guideline down. Hey, damn it. Copy, select, enter, machine gun, every quadrant. And we'll mirror all this package by a 45 degree to get the guidelines straight up. All right, now time for a decision. How much white space do we start? Actually, the top view and the right side view are incredibly similar, so this shouldn't take long. We'll go to guideline, I'm sorry, object. I'll draw a line out here in space and stop there, and I can just, E or delete to get rid of that. Let's see, that will be an offset of 10 and then a second one of 8. Offset 10, enter, click and up, enter to invoke the offset command again and set the offset distance to 8 and hit enter. Select L for last or click it. And let's see, we'll offset the bottom one here 40 units straight up. Enter 40 for the offset distance, enter, select and up. Now the hard part. What do we trim away here? And it looks like I missed a guideline there. Always something. Guideline, we'll add it there. Kept it linear, right? And we'll add it there. Now we'll, if these were 3 guidelines, oh, what the heck, let's convert all these 3 to guidelines and just connect the dots. Okay, we'll go back to object and go line. We want to go from there to there, up and out, back to there. Being incredibly lazy, I'll mirror what I got and draw some more. What happened? I better undo. Not sure if I got off a polar or, yeah. Yep, I think I'm working a little bit too fast for my own good here. Line. I'm a little reluctant because sometimes I see the yellow or the construction line behind. Okay, delta. Okay, there is a change in X on that guideline. Something went wrong when I do that guideline. Probably means this one's bad. Anyway, let's see. Extend, enter. Yeah, it looks like I got careless, drifted off of polar tracking someplace, several places. Yuck. All right. That one's got a, wonder if every one of these is bad. Yeah, it looks like I got careless when I mirrored. So, yeah, what the hell? Let's see, double check that all of these have got a 0 delta. Nope, these are wrong too. All right, start over. I wonder if I accidentally O-snapped before I copied. Okay, double check. Good, delta y is 0, so it's perfectly horizontal. Copy, select, enter, O-snap. Quadrant. Double check again, no change in Y. Mirror. And go to the center and very carefully double check I'm on the 45. Enter. Okay, we'll go to object. And we'll start off here. There. Rats. All right, we'll let me do that, erase that. To there. To there. Then up 10. Out to the intersection and up 8. And then into the hidden line, and then do some math here. 48 minus 18 is 30, right? 3, 0, enter. and taking advantage of the object snap tracking. And down, we'll erase that guy. All right, what went wrong? Okay. All right, we'll just mirror it across. Am I holding you late yet? Yep. L for line, connect the dots. Okay, we'll mirror all this green stuff back to the, looks like I won't get to show. Here's the, you know, pick, well, see this 45-degree line I got? Well, I'll draw a permanent 45-degree line. Had these two views not been so similar, I'll go to a different layer to show it. Once you got one view, you can go straight over and straight down. See how everything neatly lines up? I used to teach this in pencil drafting. You know, 45-degree line's a little short, but you can just wrap around a 45-degree line, you know, draw guidelines for the two. I'll erase these. I think all that's left is that notch that's 10 units deep. Am I on the, nope, not on the right layer. Object, line. What happened? Line. Just about done. Down, enter, enter. Down, let's freeze the guideline layer, delete that guy or trim that guy. What happened? Oh, I'm back into extend. And I trim this guy. Erase that one. And we're just about done. I'm too lazy and it's getting too late to draw the center lines. So if I ping you for no center lines, say, hey, well, you said we didn't have to do that. Because in 10 minutes, I'm going to forget all this. Oh, and by the way, y'all know how to do your text this early? I guess we'll just go with standard text style. So from now on, how about putting the all this name and stuff? Save me the work. I suppose I could eliminate a little bit more white space. Call that good enough? So let's see. We did the page 6-1 we did in class. That's this guy. I want you to do 87 without the help of the recording. I just gave you 86 done in the recording. What was I think we did one on, here we go, bottom of 6-2. Piece 6-2 bottom. Yeah, I'll give you 3 in the recording, plus do 87, which I think you could handle. Any question before we disband? Again, turn in page 6-1, bottom of 6-2, 86 and 87. And all of them are on the recording except for 87. Questions, comments? Let's shut down and call it a lesson. You all come back now. And me.